From an Australian surf town to Singapore, this school principal is on a mission to improve education at her high school.
So this is what basically our classroom, the ocean.
And the deep water goes a little faster than the shallow. So sometimes that makes
We use it in particularly our surfing course, but it's actually a leverage for lots of other courses. When students enjoy school, it's essentially it's more purposeful. You know, the learning is relevant to what their real world is about.
Denise is taking her mission from Ulladulla High School south of Sydney to a country that leads the world in academia.
As an educator, you know, what sometimes I think happens to some of us is the fact that we aren't valued. Yet we should be, because we are building tomorrow's Australia. And so, so I'd like to see that change a lot.
So, how does Australia stack up against its neighbour? The World Cup of Academics is the PISA study, the program for international student assessment. The last assessment was in 2015, and Singapore was the top of the leaderboard across 3 subjects: maths, reading and science. In comparison, Australia came out significantly lower, coming 25th in maths, 16th in reading and 14th in science, well behind other OECD nations like Estonia, Poland and New Zealand. So how has Singapore climbed to the top, especially in vital STEM subjects, while Australia continues to fall behind? In Singapore, students are taught by specialised maths teachers from Year 3 onwards. In Australia, specialised teaching doesn't start until high school, but there's a chronic shortage of teachers. In fact, less than 1 in 4 high school kids in Australia are actually taught by a qualified maths teacher. So, what can Australia do to catch up? To find out, some of Australia's best teachers have come to Singapore to see exactly what makes its school system the best in the world. Denise Lofts wants to see what she can take home to her classroom in Ulladulla, New South Wales.
I'm actually really curious around the way in which they develop such great standards.
This trip is part of a prize the teachers have won for showing innovation in learning in their own Aussie schools. Their first stop is the Nan Chau Primary School. Every student has a device on their desk and are all connected to a special system run by the school.
It's interesting seeing so many kids with their own phones on the table. We're not really used to that in Australia, are we?
Definitely not in primary school.
Now, click the start button. This is individual, not group again.
And I notice now that the teacher's talking, the kids have turned their devices around to face the front of the room.
Yeah, and I observe that as a really fantastic tactic for engagement, so that the students are well tuned into the teacher, and they're all listening to her. No one's on a device while she's speaking.
And this respect for teachers is seen across the social spectrum. Only applicants from the top 30% of graduates are accepted into a teaching degree. It pays well and is considered an elite role, on par with a profession in management or accounting.
Here in Singapore, we're talking about the top 30% of graduates that become teachers. So that's very different.
Teachers are very much appreciated. Their profile within the community is high. Wouldn't that be great in our own country if that was the desire, like that we were making the choices that, yes, you get to take the top 30%.
This week, Year 12 students from Ulladulla High and schools right around the country are sitting their end-of-year exams.
Acid and we get heat. So we're getting heat.
For Denise, she's excited to implement new ways of learning for the next generation of kids.
Have you got a checklist you've drawn up? What's top of your list?
Definitely looking the way we structure our school day and what happens from that, and the fact that the curriculum is so crowded. How can I, as a school or as a school principal in a school, look at how we can navigate that?
We also need to attract great teaching talent, don't we? So how do you go about attracting some of that talent here to
We
Ulladulla?
really do need maths teachers, as does the rest of the state, and special ed teachers. And we attract them because if we're a good company or a good school, you attract talent. But if we don't continue to be progressive, we're not going to get that talent.